Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Ryan Cox and Charles Nix here at We're going to look at some details for our guard pulling technique today. And these details are going to be focusing in on how not to slam onto the mat when you're pulling guard. I know when I was a white belt, that was something that was kind of elusive in my mind. I would always feel like I was just kind of slamming my tailbone down onto the mat and causing some jarring, you know, in my neck and in my back. So we're going to take a look at some details right now to kind of maybe shorten that curve for you so you're not slamming onto the mat too much. To get started, I'm going to reach to the same side lapel. When I get this grip on the same side lapel, I just want to flick it open and then reach in for a cross-side lapel grip. Now I'm going to go to the sleeve grip and give a little bit of a push into Charles so that the foot that I previously had standing behind is now standing in front. Now I can go put this front foot on the hip, and I want to get a good push-pull tension. So I'm pulling into Charles with my hands and pushing with my foot. And at this point in time, when you're establishing this guard, you might have to kind of be hopping around and active on this standing foot. Okay, so try not to be too rooted with that standing foot. We're gonna get that cross-side lapel grip established, same side sleeve grip, push in, plant the foot on the hip, and now this is where we're kind of active. We're going to bend at the knee that we're standing on and sit to the hip that's planted on the opponent's hip. Okay, so bend and sit, and that creates some rotation, and that's really what I'm looking for here, is to get that rotation set up. Again, getting started. Charles's gi is nice and taut, how it was when we started. I'm going to reach cross side or same side. So I reach same side hand, open, and feed my cross side grip. Now I grab the same side sleeve grip, give a little bit of a push into Charles, and then from here I'm going to place my foot on Charles' hip, push-pull tension. So I'm pushing on the hip, pulling on the collar. Now I lower myself down by bending that knee that I'm standing on. Lower down, sit to my opposite hip, and now from here we're in a position where we can play our guard. So we're going to keep going, pulling guard, but once we pull guard, we're going to go right into a tripod sweep. The tripod sweep works well with this particular guard pull because of the spin and the angle you get when you pull the guard. And the tripod sweep is really good because you don't have to sacrifice much in order to try the sweep. You get to try the sweep, and if it works out, then you get your sweep points, you get on top, and you're in a dominant passing position. But if the sweep doesn't work out, you didn't really have to ante up very much to play this hand of poker. Same, just to recap what we're doing here, we're going same side collar grip, opening that grip, and then feeding in for a cross side lapel grip. I'm going right to my opponent's sleeve with my free hand. I'm pushing in, foot to the hip. Really want to push-pull here. Pull your grips, push your foot, lower yourself down. This is where you sit down without crashing, right? So we want to sit down and then sit at this angle, and that's the spin we want to create. Right away, my free foot is going behind the knee. I grip exchange, and then right away I'm pushing on the hip, pulling on the knee, and then sitting Charles down to his hip. From here, I'm going to plant my foot that's behind the knee. I'm staying on my elbow, and I'm keeping this grip on Charles' foot. Charles, move with me. Okay, so we wind up in this position. I had this grip on the back of Charles' ankle here. My foot's still on his hip. Everything's the same, okay? This is how you're going to fall when you fall in this tripod sweep. So some common mistakes that people make when they're in this position is that they'll plant their foot and then they'll let this foot hit the mat right here, and then they're trying to like get up in this awkward way and go directly into the opponent. So the way that we're gonna avoid that is we're gonna be here, we're gonna keep this foot on our opponent's hip. This foot that's behind the knee is gonna plant to the mat. I'm gonna stay on my elbow. I'm keeping this nice grip on Charles's leg here. And now from here, I'm gonna lift my hip. Okay, so I lift my hips up. I pull this leg all the way behind me until I can come to my knee. Once I get to my knee, this is when I'm gonna charge back into Charles and keep Charles planted down on the ground. I want this hand on the hip, and I want this hand controlling anywhere from the ankle to the knee. And then we're just looking to get small here and really start working on passing Charles' guard. Okay, so still working on pulling guard here. I'm going same side lapel grip, open, feed the cross side grip, going to the same side sleeve, push, foot on the hip, push, pull, tension. I'm gonna lower myself down and sit to my hip, creating that spin. And then right away, my free foot is gonna go behind Charles' knee. I'm gonna hit a grip exchange. So my collar grip comes down to the sleeve, and then I'm grabbing the foot on this side. I pull his ankle. So rotate with me, Charles. Get my grips. So I'm gonna pull the ankle here as I push on the hip with this foot. Then I'm gonna pull on the knee as well. This is all gonna happen at the same time to sit Charles down. Now, I keep this grip on Charles' ankle, keep this grip on Charles' sleeve. Okay, now this foot that's behind Charles' knee is gonna plant to the mat so I can lift my hips up. I'm staying on my elbow and I'm pulling this leg back behind me. Now from here I can come in and start aggressively passing this guard.